Sohr Damb, Red Mound, c. 3800 to 2300 BC, is an archaeological site located near Naal, in central Balochistan, Pakistan that begins before the Indus Valley Civilization featuring Togu, Kulli Muhammad, and Katie Beg pottery styles. It has also been known as Naal, Balochistan, and gave its name to the prehistoric Amri Naal culture, which is attributed to the dual-type sites of Amri and Naal. The site extends around 4-5 hectares. The mound, mostly geologically formed, is 13 meters high. The cultural stratum is less than 2 meters deep. The excavations reveal 4 periods of occupation, and they could be further divided into several subperiods. The locality was first discovered in 1903. In the following years, various minor excavations took place, including by Sir Orlstein. Another excavation was led by Harold Hargreaves in 1924. Since 2001, the site has been systematically excavated by the German Archaeological Institute and the Department of Archaeology and Museums, Government of Pakistan. The oldest period, Period I, belongs to the cultural complexes called Togu, Kulli Muhammad, and Katie Beg, but new research is needed to establish the exact sequence of them, and until now, 16 skeletons were found in 11 burials, some of them located in small chambers. The grave goods included ceramics, pearls, and semi-precious stones like carnelian, agate, lapis lazuli, also steatite beads, shells with red pigment, and grinding stones. 5. In tomb 739-740, more than 12 bodies and 60 complete pots were found. All chambers contain multiple fractional burials, deposited some time after death. The pottery belongs to different cultural styles, such as Togu A.D., Kulli Muhammad, and Katie Beg, which were previously believed to represent development through time. The assemblage is comparable to Mehergarh 3, 4 and Shahi Tump in Makran, but the differences in burial customs and grave goods are pronounced. Some parallels can also be drawn to the Siak 3 horizon in Iran, so a date between 4000 by 3800 and 3200 BC is proposed. During period 2, we see the appearance of the Naal culture complex. The dead were now buried in individual graves. There are only a few vessels offered as grave goods. The excavated mud brick houses are usually small. There was a lot of utility ceramics, but also some brightly painted ceramics typical of the Naal culture. There were also millstones, bone implements, and pearls. The settlement reached its present size of 4.5 ha. The Togu pottery, which was so common in period I, was no longer produced and was replaced by the typical Naal pottery, which is buff and carries complex geometric and figurative motifs painted in black, and often with turquoise, yellow, and red as additional colors. The calibrated dates are between 3100 BC and 2700 BC. Period 3 is closely related to the other cultures of the area, such as Mehergarh and Mundigak in Afghanistan. The mudbrick architecture has now become larger. Copper makes its appearance, while the ceramics become simpler. Copper and ceramics were probably produced on site. The calibrated results for period 3 are from ca. 2700 to 2500 to 400 BC, leaving no doubt that the terminal date of period 3 is not much later than ca. 2400 BC. From this period onwards, and throughout the borderlands, Mundigak 4 reached its largest size. Shehrai Sokta 2-3 grew into an urban center with monumental architecture, and in the Indus Valley, after 2600 BC, a centralized state took shape that gradually expanded over a huge area. The period 4 layers are badly eroded. Overall, this period belongs to the Kulli culture, as well as the Indus culture. Period 4 occupation is very eroded and only attested at the surface, often just by gravel foundations. The pottery resembles so-called Kulli harappan types, and combines features of the indigenous Kulli complex with those of the Indus civilization and reflects the westerly expansion into the Kulli domain of this civilization. The calibrated dating results of the few samples available from period 4 fall to between 2500 and 2300 BC. Domesticated cattle bones are plentiful in the settlement, and bull figurines are also found. The bones were identified as coming from humped or zebu cattle. Sheep and goats were also kept. The inhabitants also had dogs. Wild mammals account for only 5% of the bone remains. The crops like wheat and hulled and naked barley were used from the earliest period. Later, the crops indigenous to the Indian subcontinent, like sesame and millet, became more popular. The sesame sample from period 3 is the oldest stratified record from this crop until now. Both wild and cultivated fruits were exploited. Fig, jujube, dwarf palm, and grape wine were quite popular. Please like and subscribe our channel for more interesting videos.